There are so many AI note takers in the market right now, so naturally you begin to ask the question, which is the best one? And if you're running a multilingual team, this actually becomes very important because businesses now aren't actually just handling English-speaking Zoom calls anymore. They're now handling international clients, multilingual teams, cross-border collaboration, and sensitive company information. So suddenly now the question becomes, can your AI note taker handle this professionally? So I spent the last few weeks testing some AI note takers to see which is the best one for multilingual teams across Europe and explain why I believe HappyScribe is the strongest option for multilingual teams. Now let's first start off with MeetGeek. MeetGeek is interesting because it focuses heavily on meeting analytics and workflow reporting. It integrates well with Teams, Zoom, and Google Meet. And it's clearly designed for managers that want visibility into how meetings are run across teams. Because you get productivity insights, speaker analytics, meeting templates, and AI summaries. So for internal workflows, it's actually pretty solid. But where I noticed its limitations was its multilingual performance. So for international teams, that becomes quite a problem because multilingual workflows aren't just a nice to have anymore. It's part of the infrastructure. Next up on the list, we have Nota. Nota feels much more recruitment focused. It's especially strong for hiring teams because of ATS integrations, interview scorecards, candidate evaluations, and structured reporting. And if you're running a high volume recruiting pipelines, I can see why you would need it. It also has a strong GDPR positioning with French hosted infrastructure. But again, unfortunately, I found that the multilingual support was a bit weaker than other platforms that I used. And the interface feels more specialized around recruiting workflows rather than broader business communication. Which now brings me to HappyScribe. And honestly, this platform stood out most consistently with everything I tested. Because HappyScribe doesn't feel like any other AI note taker. It feels like a multilingual communication workspace. First, what I noticed was the language support. HappyScribe supports over 150 languages and dialects for transcription with translation workflows built directly within the platform. Now, the second thing that stood out to me was the flexibility of recording. Most tools only really focus on online meetings, whereas HappyScribe handles Teams, Zoom, Google Meets, uploaded files, and even in-person recordings through the new mobile app. Everything lives inside one workspace. Now, obviously for B2B teams, security matters just as much as features. And honestly, this is where HappyScribe separates itself most clearly. Because unlike most AI tools that process data outside of Europe, HappyScribe is EU-based and stores data inside European infrastructure while following GDPR and SOC 2 Type 2 compliance standards. And after researching this space, I realized something. Most businesses don't actually need more AI. They need an AI they can trust. Now, from a workflow perspective, this is where HappyScribe feels more mature. After the meeting's finished, you don't just get the transcripts. You get searchable conversations, summaries, multilingual translations, AI chat across meetings, subtitles, and collaborative workflows, which starts to make it feel less like a meeting software and more like an infrastructure for organizational knowledge. So after testing everything, here's my conclusion. If your focus is meeting analytics, MeetGeek is strong. If your focus is recruiting, Nota makes absolute sense. But if you're running multilingual teams and you need strong transcription, translation, flexible workflows, enterprise level security, meeting intelligence, and one unified workspace, HappyScribe is probably the strongest all-round platform right now. Not because it has the flashiest AI, but because it understands how modern global teams actually work.